Hello, my name is John Carney. I'm a meteorologist at the National Weather Service office in St. Louis, and I'm also the aviation weather focal point there. This presentation is on the Volunteer Aerial Damage Survey program, and it's basically a request from the National Weather Service to private pilots to help us out with tornado damage surveys, providing us with damage path length and width and pictures from the air and damage pattern information from the air. This presentation is 22 slides long and will take about 15 minutes. I want to give you a brief overview of what this presentation is going to go over. The National Weather Service is asking for help from private pilots with aerial damage surveys because lots of times they're the best way to determine the exact track of a tornado. This is a great public service opportunity for private pilots, but it is a volunteer-only program and we cannot compensate you for time or fuel. However, we do have some incentives for volunteers. The National Weather Service is requesting help from volunteer pilots to aid in the damage survey process. Ground surveys by meteorologists and engineers are critical to assessing the details of tornadic damage. However, aerial surveys are often much better at assessing the big picture. You can much more easily see the damage width and length from the air, and oftentimes the patterns within the damage are easier to see from the air. And remote areas can often have few roads, which makes aerial damage surveys the only option that you can have. And on top of everything else, aerial surveys are just much more efficient because you can cover more area in less time than ground surveys. This is an example of some pretty high-end tornadic damage from Joplin, Missouri, May 22nd, 2011. And you can see this is a fairly well-destroyed landscape here with houses totally wrecked. Cars rolled over and crushed, trees snapped like matchsticks, and it's pretty easy for a ground survey crew to get caught up in the details of trying to estimate wind speeds using damage indicators and sometimes miss the overall patterns that would be visible from the air. And that's what we'd like to ask volunteer aviators to do, is to get up into the sky and help us out with the overall path length of a tornado like this, and also the width of the damage, and also to find, see if we can find patterns in the damage that are more easily visible from the air than from the ground. This is an aerial picture that's just about the same location and angle as the ground picture was on the previous slide. You can see some definite patterns in the damage, which would be very difficult to pick up from the ground. The tornado basically followed the street, and the damage appears to be much more extensive on the right side of the street than it was on the left. And I believe this was the Joplin Medical Center, which took a hard hit from the tornado as well. But you can see pretty much where the strongest winds were from this tornado, at least along this part of the damage path, just either side of this road here. And this kind of information would be invaluable to a damage survey crew in helping them map out the strongest parts of the tornado for later evaluation. This is another aerial picture of the damage through Joplin. The tornado came in from the top left of the picture here. We're actually looking to the west, and it moved through Joplin and it took a turn to the right here at the end of its path through Joplin. This entire path here could be flown in just a few minutes with a small aircraft, giving the damage survey crew invaluable information on the path length and the width, and also where the concentrated damage would be, so that they can focus their efforts there instead of just trying to determine the width and length of the of the damage. So again, this kind of survey from an aircraft would be just invaluable in this kind of situation. This is another example of some tornadic damage, this one from Smithville, Mississippi in April of 2011. A ground survey crew could get in here and do a good, accurate survey of the damaged homes in this area. However, we probably couldn't get back into this more wooded area, and you can see from the bigger picture that the path continues all the way up through the top of the picture here, and that's where an aircraft would be invaluable to help us with the overall path length of the tornado and continue to follow the path where a ground survey crew just simply couldn't get to. This is another picture from the Smithville, Mississippi tornado in 2011. What's interesting about this picture is that the trees are all crisscrossed here in this sort of convergent pattern, and this is very typical of tornadic damage, and this might take some time on the ground to really figure out, but from the air it's immediately apparent, and this kind of information is invaluable, especially in what looks like a heavily wooded area here where we couldn't get a survey crew in very easily. Again, a volunteer aviator could fly over this and in seconds determine that this was tornadic damage. Some of you may be wondering why we don't ask the Civil Air Patrol to do damage surveys for us. And we have in the past, and the Civil Air Patrol has always done a wonderful job for us. However, we do have to reimburse them, and we're not always in a budgetary position to be able to do that easily. And there are also timeliness issues where the Civil Air Patrol may be too busy to get up and do a survey for us in short order, and we're hoping that a volunteer aviator could do that if we provide them information for the damage track that they might want to fly, that they'd be able to get up quickly and fly that track and get the information to us. Okay, I've been using the word volunteer a lot, and you probably want to know exactly what I mean by volunteer. The National Weather Service cannot reimburse you for time, fuel, or wear and tear on your aircraft. We also cannot ask you to fly. We will provide you with information, and you will determine whether or not you want to fly. We also can't take any legal responsibility for your safety. And there are also no special FAA provisions. You're required to follow all applicable FAA regulations and airspace restrictions, including any temporary flight restrictions which may be in effect. In other words, when I say the word volunteer, what I mean is the decision of when and where to fly is yours and yours alone. So why should you consider volunteering? Well, damage surveys are a valuable public service. They help communities receive disaster aid and also provide valuable information for insurance companies. You'll also be helping the National Weather Service advance the science of severe weather forecasting and tornado warning technology. These are images from the tornado which struck St. Louis on April 22nd, 2011, the Good Friday tornado. You can see here in the radar reflectivity a hook echo along with a debris ball and a very strong tornadic circulation on the velocity picture here. Any kind of surveys that we do, whether it be on the ground or in the air, will help us in the weather forecast office to relate what we're seeing on radar to what's actually happening on the ground and improve our warnings. The National Weather Service will also give you as much publicity as you want through our website, text products, and media interviews. We can be as public with your information as you'd like, or keep it as private as you want. It's your choice. You can see here some products that were issued by the National Weather Service office in Louisville. This is for a tornado in April 2011. There was an aerial damage survey conducted by private pilots Roy Cantrell and Glenn Norman. It was completed on Friday, April 29th. The aerial survey team departed from Elizabethtown in a Piper Cherokee 140, tail number N4336T, and flew to a survey in an area in western Ohio. Thanks to Roy and Glenn for their detailed survey. And we'll post maps with the survey track and any pictures that you take. And again, we don't have to release your name or aircraft number in our products, but we'll be happy to do that and give you credit for it if you'd like. It's all up to you. While we can't compensate you monetarily for your time or fuel or wear and tear on your aircraft, we can say thank you and present you with a token of gratitude. Here you have pictures of National Weather Service meteorologist Brian Schottmer presenting a plaque of appreciation to pilot Roy Cantrell and photographer Glenn Norman for their work and their damage surveys, and we'll be delighted to do something very similar if we have any pilots who want to volunteer for us at the National Weather Service office in St. Louis. And on top of that, you'll also have a pretty cool entry for your logbook doing an aerial damage survey for the National Weather Service. This is a close-up of the two plaques that NWS Louisville presented to their pilots in 2011. One for Roy and Glenn Norman, and another one for the Du Bois County Flight Services. Yeah, nice little engravings of their aircraft on the plaques there to personalize them a little bit. If you are interested in becoming a volunteer for us, the initial communications after a tornado will go something like this. We'll contact you via email. We can also call you if you wish. Included in the email will be a link to a chart which highlights the potential damage track. This is a website, skyvector.com, and it'll have GPS coordinates on the side of the chart, and you'll also have the damage track highlighted in purple. And we just ask that if you do decide to fly, that you fly along this track that we've highlighted for you and see if you see any damage. Remember, it's up to you to stay out of restricted airspace and obey all FAA regulations. If you do decide to fly a damage path, we recommend that you fly with a buddy. Let your partner take the pictures and video while you fly the aircraft. Immediately after taking a damage photo, shoot a picture of the GPS so the National Weather Service can accurately plot the pictures to a map. After the flight, simply email your photos and any comments you have to the National Weather Service. Send it to the forecaster who emailed you the damage track that you flew, and we'll take care of the rest. If you're interested in the Volunteer Damage Survey program, I'll need your contact information. Please email me your name, address, telephone number, aircraft type, aircraft tail number, home airport, and the range from your home airport that you're willing to fly. One other thing, we will do our best to never send you on a wild goose chase. We have no wish to waste your valuable time or fuel. But please indicate your willingness to search for damage tracks that are less than certain if that's what you'd like to do. I just want to take a moment to thank you for your interest in the Volunteer Damage Survey program and for sitting through this presentation. I really hope this will be the start of a closer relationship between the St. Louis National Weather Service office and the general aviation community that we serve. Here we are at the end of the presentation, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any time. You can try to get a hold of me on the phone. The number is 636-447-1876. However, I am an operational forecaster and I work rotating shifts, so the best way to get in touch with me is usually by email at jonathan.carney@noaa.gov. I'm really good at answering my email. I usually am able to get back to you within a day or two. If I'm on a long break, it might be 3 days, but as I say, usually it's just a day or two before I can get back. Thanks again for watching the presentation, and I hope to hear from you soon.